Hi, this is Mike Perlman for Techno Buffalo, and welcome to another edition of Camera Review. Today's review is the Sony CyberShot DSC HX200V. That's a long model name, isn't it, Lucy? Stay tuned for the full review. Behold the Sony CyberShot DSC HX200V, and goodbye Lucy. Go get a squirrel. Go get a chipmunk. This camera is Sony's top-of-the-line super zoom camera. It has a 30x optical zoom lens, which means you could get up close and personal with your neighbors. This camera also has 1080 60p full HD video recording, an 18.2 megapixel sensor, and a host of really nifty shooting features. Let's start with this camera's design. The CyberShot HX200V separates itself from the pack with a few key features. The first one being its Pro-style lens ring, which operates the zoom or the manual focus. This is a buttery smooth, wonderful tool that you could find on advanced camcorders. Also, we have a nifty 921K pixel display in the back, and the LCD style is tilting, so you could shoot at those hard to reach angles. The only thing I don't like about this LCD screen is that it doesn't flip out to face you for self-portraits. The Panasonic Lumix DMC FZ150 has that capability. There's also a 200,000 pixel electronic viewfinder, and the cool thing about this is it has an eye sensor, so it will transition from the LCD screen to the viewfinder just by placing your eye up against the cup. There's a great DSLR style dial control on the back. You could press it in to use it as a button. You could also spin it to make different selections. We have a 4-way directional pad with some nice shortcuts on it, and Sony equipped the HX200V with its Info lithium battery pack. This thing lasts a long time. It's one of the best battery lives in its class, and the great thing about this battery pack is it shows you its remaining stamina in minutes on the LCD screen. This camera has a pop-up flash on top, but like any Sony, this camera is geared toward consumers. That's why you won't find a mic jack or a headphone jack, and you won't find a hot shoe on top. The Panasonic FZ150 has those features, and because of that, the FZ150 is for more advanced shooters, while the CyberShot is more of a soccer mom camera. Now for features, the Sony CyberShot HX200V is plastered from lens to LCD screen with a bountiful banquet of shooting tools. It has two separate auto modes. One is Intelligent Auto and one is Superior Auto. Intelligent Auto uses a combination of Sony's different scene techniques and picks the right one for the right occasion. Now Superior Auto takes a series of shots in different settings and combines them all into one image, but I found that I achieved better results in the PASM modes. Speaking of which, yes, this camera has full manual control. A shutter speed that goes down to 30 seconds, which we used for light painting at night. It has an aperture range of f2.8 to 8.0 and an ISO range of 100 to 12,800, so that's a pretty broad sensitivity range. But that's not all. This thing has a built-in neutral density filter with an auto setting. It also has exposure bracketing, smile shutter and smile detection, saturation, contrast, sharpness settings, various noise reduction levels, and excellent optical steady shot image stabilization, which worked exceedingly well in video and still mode, zoomed all the way in at a 30x optical zoom. The CyberShot HX200V also has a nice GPS feature. It has GPS logging, and the camera did a great job of tracking all of the different locations that I took pictures and videos. Now the CyberShot HX200V also has some really cool picture effects. We do have a really awesome HDR painting mode. There's rich black and white, there's pop color, we have partial colors, watercolor illustration, that type of thing. Now we'll hop over to scene mode, and with most cameras scene modes are pretty useless, but not with the HX200V. It has a backlight correction HDR mode that did a fantastic job. Check out some of the pictures I took online without it and with, and you'll see the difference. It's pretty amazing. There are also some great night shot modes, And the HX200V would not be a Sony without the panorama sweep mode. You could take up to 180 degree shots. This camera has a 10 frames per second burst rate at full resolution, and one of the coolest features I found was in playback mode, where you could actually tilt the camera left and right using the motion sensor inside to flip through the pictures like a hologram or a flip book. I think that is awesome. Now there's some nice control in video mode. You can shoot in different scene modes. You could also adjust the exposure compensation. You could shoot in intelligent auto. But unlike the FZ150 from Panasonic, you can't adjust the shutter, aperture, ISO, those type of things. So when it comes to manual controls in video mode, you're pretty limited. But overall, this is one of the best collections of shooting features on the market in this class. Now it's time for image quality. Under the hood of the HX200V, you'll find a 1/2.3 inch, 18.2 megapixel Exmor sensor with Sony's Bionz processing. So this camera is geared toward better low light sensitivity. Now the one thing to mention about the HX200V is the fact that it does not shoot in RAW. So keep that in mind. I found it to produce some fairly beautiful images, especially macro shots. Outdoor pictures are great. I was really impressed with the colors. They're a little bit cooler than most other cameras, but they're pretty accurate. In low light, I was really impressed with the high ISO sensitivity. This is a great all-around camera. When you stack it up against the FZ150, they're pretty much on the same plane. And in the video department, this camera was fantastic. That 60p video, it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. Great colors. Really impressive video from this camera, especially from a small sensor. I was just highly impressed with this thing. So overall image quality with the HX200V, very good. And now it's time for the Buffalo call with the Zoom Happy CyberShot. If you're not as concerned with manual controls, you're going to want to pick the Sony. It's just a great all-around auto shooter. If you're more of a manual shooter, you want more manual controls, you're going to want to go for the Panasonic FZ150. The reason is it's got that mic jack, it's got the hot shoe, it shoots in RAW, it's got great manual controls like shutter speed and aperture, and ISO in video mode. So if you want more of a complete picture, if you could see yourself starting to do basic video productions and you want that versatility of shooting in RAW, go with the Panasonic. I personally would go with the Panasonic for those reasons. If I were to list them in order of preference, I'd go Panasonic FZ150 / CyberShot HX200V. Then I'd go Canon PowerShot SX40HS. Then I'd go Nikon Coolpix P510. So if this video was not enough to quench your camera thirst, go to technobuffalo.com for the full HX200 review. Until next time, I'm Mike Perlman. Remember to always wear your safety goggles.